Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything. I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and review the HaT models French Light Infantry chasseurs in their action poses. They have 3 boxes of the chasseurs. I believe one is action, one is marching, and another one is command. So this is the box with the action poses. They say that there's 28 models. I actually think there's more than 28. I'm going to have to do my math when we open this up. I think there's 32. Okay, and then they're 28 millimeter. And the box looks pretty plain, to be honest. I mean, what do you really need on a box? You really don't need a whole lot. They got the picture of what the troops should look like in their uniforms. And then it talks about choking hazards in various different languages. They want to be safe, you know. And then right here, it's in different languages: French Light Infantry chasseurs, or ligueurs, right? Cazador or cacciatori. Now, HaT is very famous in making 1/72 scale models, and they do a really good job making 1/72. And they're harder, a slightly harder plastic. They're not soft plastic like Revell or Eschi. They're just a little bit harder. Okay, so now this is the 4 poses that you get in the box. What they're saying here, okay, I've got some flock on this. What they're saying here is the backpacks have to be glued on separately. And this is their 28 millimeter line, it looks like. You know, with their French Light Infantry, Carabiners, Bavarians, Prussians, Württembergers, Austrians, Russians, Prussian Landwehr, and of course, now this says there's 32. Okay, so the box is messed up. Yeah, I do believe there's 32 in there. Okay, let's open it up and take a look at them. Don't get shocked. They're light blue. Okay, nothing else in the box. The box is completely empty. You get 4 of these little bitty square sprues. On a previous video, I made a comment about how these sprues don't take up much room in this box. They could have made a box this big, you know. This is kind of deceiving, having a big box like that, except maybe they just wanted to make sure that they got the artwork on there. So now, the figures, right? You get 4 sprues, and I'll tell you right now, they're all exactly the same sprue, and this is what you can see. It does look to me like the top and the bottom are exactly the same. You've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 backpacks for 4 guys. And then there's 5 backpacks for 4 guys. Is there anything special? Okay, like this backpack doesn't have the ammo. So if you want to make a guy without the ammo in the back, use that backpack. These backpacks have holes in them in the back, and the troops have pegs on their backs, so there's no misplacing of the backpacks. They're going to go on just right. I like the fact that they've got tall plumes. Now what I'm going to do is, so I can really get you a close-up view, I'm going to go ahead and prime this, take a short break, come back, and then show you up close and personal. But right now, I just want to point this out. If this is exactly the same as this, and it is, and you get 4 sprues, so basically you get 8 of each pose. And there's 4 poses. 8 times 4, 32. Okay, so you get 32 guys, but you only get 4 poses, like this says on the back of the box. And you get 8 each. Okay, so let me prime this, dry, come back, and then we'll get some close-ups, and I'll show you some of the detail or lack of detail on these models. Be right back. Alright guys, let's go ahead and zoom in on these models so you can see exactly the details on these models. Is that a little too close? Okay, let's back that up a little bit until it's in focus. Alright, there we go, it's in focus. Got me a little pointing stick right there. Alright, well, the musket looks pretty good, right? That little top piece right there has got to be cut off of his hat, and what that does is that causes there to be a seam line along the top of his shako, so that's something you'll have to clean off. You got pretty good detail on the shako, the face of the shako, but you can see that the mold is like a solid mold. The rifle and the ramrod is not a rifle, I guess it's a musket, but the ramrod is part of the body. You can kind of see that right there. But you still can see the straps, the buttons, you know, the boots are in good detail. Okay, let's go to the next guy. See how that is kind of part of the head, right? And then the back of his shako's got that. The pack looks pretty good. Yeah, look at that shako is part of his body. I'm not sure if I mean, not shako, his musket's part of his body. I'm not sure if I like that. But once you paint it up, it's probably going to look okay. The buttons along his jacket look really good, really pronounced. And when you come over to the guy here in charge attack, you can see the various straps on his pack, like crisscross here, his backpack straps, the sling, yeah, that all looks pretty good. And then this is the back of the guy firing here. You can see he's got that strap. It stops because there's no need to model that if you're putting a backpack on the guy. His pocket, the vertical pocket, looks good. And then what they've done is they've modeled, like on some models, you'll see where the backpack has the saber as well as the ammo pouch all attached to the backpack. Well, these models, the sabers are all part of the body and the ammo is part of the backpack. One interesting note I've noticed, it does have the little hat, the what do they call that sucker? Not a campaign hat, they call it a field cap or something like that. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's rolled up underneath his ammo pouch as normal, and there's like a little tie string tassel hanging off. Thought that was pretty cool little touch right there, and you can see that it's not a flash to cut off or anything. That's actually supposed to be there, and that's not a black the garrison cap or something. I'm not exactly sure what they call that. Can't remember what they call it. Okay, so we'll go to the front of this gentleman here, and then the back of these guys. Like his hand is up inside the sling. That's pretty cool. His shirt looks really good. There's no detail. You lose all the detail right here, where the arm and the buttstock. That's no good, but that's okay. Once you will never see it anyway. And then I'm seeing an epaulet on this guy, and this guy, and this guy. Did I see epaulets over there? Huh, epaulets. Okay, so all these guys, well, they're supposed to have them, right? The yellow and green. If you wanted to, you could paint them up like grenadiers if you want, but yeah, they got the long coats down to their knees, and then he's got his vertical pockets. Buttons are really pronounceable. I like that. This side of the shako is not as bad as the other side. The other side of the shako is pretty bad. The collars are going to be a little bit harder to get to and paint than on some of these other models that I've been working with, like Perry and Warlord. The pants are all tucked in, like an elite company should. Alright, so I've actually put a couple on bases and glued the backpacks on and primed them, so let's go take a look at those. I'm going to get a close-up of those as well. Alright guys, I've got one of these guys. I put it on a 20mm base, like a skirmisher is supposed to be in, well, okay, I guess I didn't prime underneath. I need to prime some more. But, that's with the backpack on. That's the That's the key, right? That looks pretty good. It doesn't look as... They look like true scale and not heroic scale. So they don't look like they're really bulky and way out of proportion like a lot of metal models or a lot of like a lot of figures coming out of England. You know, you'll see that they're super bulky. Now I understand that. I understand that on oh my gosh, look at the flash right there. Oh goodness, and look at how his jacket and leg and under his arm. That's horrible right there. That's unacceptable. Once I get to painting these guys and everything, I can disguise that. I can make any figure look good. But and if you put that in the middle of a regiment, you probably never even see that little piece there. All right. All right, guys. Now the next step is I want to kind of compare sizes with, these are Warlord French infantry that I've already put together, painted, and these are the ones I just put together. And then I also want to kind of compare the scale to the actual millimeters. So we'll do that first. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the bottom of the boot. That's the top of the base, but the bottom of the boot to his brim of his hat, which it would be right at his eyebrow height. And that's what I'm measuring. Whoops, let's go the other way. And that's what I'm measuring. So boot to brow, that's about 29. 28. It's about 28 millimeters. Oddly enough, it is 28 millimeters. Okay, let's take this guy that's more standing upright. Yeah, I'm thinking 28 to 29. It's 28 and a half. We'll call it that. Okay, where these guys, I'm gonna kind of just give you kind of a comparison. These guys are like 30 millimeters. No. They're like 28 as well. Okay, so these guys are on a base. These guys are on the base. Let's do a size comparison, figure to figure. You can see how these guys are kind of bulky, and this guy is not bulky. He looks. I'm putting the bases even. He looks shorter. Yeah, doesn't that guy look a lot shorter? I thought he just measured the brims. Well, okay, their bases are a lot thicker than their bases, so I'm going to move him up just a little bit. Yeah, he's thinner. He's thinner and lighter and more slender. He's not as big and bulky and heroic as these guys. Okay. Yeah, the plumes aren't even close. Yeah, I would say that these guys are more like 25 millimeters. Or actually, these guys are probably correct. These are probably 30 millimeter miniatures. Or the heads are just extra big. See how the HaT, the Shako, is just twice as big as that one. I'm going to get a non-Warlord. I'm going to get a Perry model and compare. Alright, this is a Perry model Hanover figure. Whoa, that's what I get. Okay, now they seem to be a little bit closer to the same scale. The Perry model and the HaT model seems to be very similar. Scale and height and hat size, musket length. Yeah, those Warlord miniatures just seem to be way too bulky. yeah, he's comparable to the Perry models. All right, guys. Now, my final thoughts. 32 figures for under $3.50. I bought these guys for $3.11 or something like that, plus shipping. But so we're going to say under $3.50 for 32 models. That's great. The scale is close enough. They're right at the Perry scale, so that's really good. They are a little thinner, but I think that's because they're more realistic, and plus they're not metals, and metals tend to need to be a little bit thicker just for durability. Quality-wise, they're not as good as Perry. Perry's got a good quality. Warlord's got great quality. These guys have a little bit to be desired. I would say that if I was to mark Perry models at a 10, I would probably put Warlord at like an 8, and I would probably put these guys close to a 7 or a 6 if I was to give them a classification. But final thought, it's worth getting. I might get a couple more boxes just because of the number of figures, and if I'm trying to do a huge battle economically, this is good. But if you are more concerned about quality of figures, and by watching this video you probably are concerned about quality of figures, stick with your Perry and your Warlord, and you should be all right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and checking out this video, and I'll see you next time.